Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode of Kerbal Space Program. And yeah, this week has been kind of weak on the channel. Yeah, I know I've been slacking off a little bit, and I do apologize for that. Just been a little bit busy in life and feeling a little unmotivated, if you will. But anyhow, enough of that. We should be back on track now. I got some pretty cool ideas coming up for Kerbal, and this is one of them right here. So you might be familiar with this launch vehicle here. A little pretty cockpit view there. Some shaking floorboards. We have the rover, the manned rover that we previously sent to the moon and crashed in that wonderful little drive we had across the moon's surface. Oh well, still feel kind of bad about that, but that's okay. We only killed 2 Kerbals. I'm sure I've killed a lot more before. Anyway, this little rover here is actually going to be going on to a mission to Duna. Yes, sir, that's right. And I don't know if you noticed there, you might see some parachutes on top of the sky crane there. I did add one drogue chute, which is a parachute that deploys at a higher altitude than the regular chutes, and just serves to slow you down a little bit higher up in the atmosphere, so that certainly helps out a bit. So I added that. I added 4 radially mounted parachutes to the sky crane as well, so we can have some more drag to slow us down and make sure we don't blow up. And other than that, I can't remember what else I changed. I know I added some more struts to the rover itself. It's not shaking anywhere near as much now, where the cockpit is there. So that's all good. I did completely forget to add the docking port to that interplanetary stage, so whoopsies. I guess we'll just have to deal without it. Yeah, I think that's about it. And anyway, the mission that we are going to be running here, as I said before, going to be going to Duna, but at the same time, I did also want to complete the main mission, I guess, for this season. The main goal for my Season 1 of Kerbal is to get an interplanetary mission that will join up with the Starbase I have set up in Kerbal orbit at the moment, and get a little refueling going on there and all that, and then send that whatever probe or whatever makes it out to that Starbase, send that out somewhere else. And, well, this is the mission right here. I kind of decided on the spot. Initially, I was just going to send this guy out to Duna and try to do a landing there, see how it works in the atmosphere. I have not tested this slightly redesigned sky crane and rover thingy-majigger, so yeah, I don't actually know how it's going to work on Duna when we get there. But, man, I hope you guys aren't hearing all this. My mic is just not sitting properly. I'm gonna have to mess with some sound there. Anyway, yeah, so I decided kind of on the spot to, well, have this be the mission that'll reach the Starbase as well. And not the greatest of ideas that I've had, since I did completely forget to add that docking port right there where I was just pointing with the mouse. Whoops on that again, but we're just gonna have to deal with it. And the only other option we have is to use the sky crane as the refueling thingy, instead of actually putting the interplanetary stage, attaching that to the station and refueling it that way. But, oh well, we'll just have to deal with it, as always. Anyhow, here we go. We are actually just leaving, or about to leave Kerbal, the Kerbin system right now. Always looking for a beautiful picturesque shot if I can get one. Not really, the moon is kind of way up there. I got a galaxy off to the side there, that kind of looks cool. Alright, so here we go, we got our burn here. I failed to talk about this burn that I'm making to get out into interplanetary space. Basically what I did, I just used the main stage there to get myself up as high as possible, and then I made sure I also had a periapsis. So basically I'm using the Earth's gravity to just help me around a little bit. It does help shave a little bit off the burn, so might as well use it if I can. And there we go, we have our exit trajectory now. And let us zoom on away from the planet. Look how beautiful she is. Don't know if we'll see you again. Hopefully. Hopefully we will. And I actually encountered some really funky stuff coming up right about now-ish. So, okay. Maybe not quite yet. Getting ahead of myself here. This post-commentary stuff is, well, since I know what's going to happen, it's kind of hard to not spoil it sometimes. But, yeah, here we go. I think because Minmus is kind of in the way, I'm sort of getting an intercept with it. I don't know. Like, here I have Kerbal apoapsis of, what was it, like 1,000,000 kilometers or something? Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened there. But it seems like we're okay. And there we go. We have an orbit in the solar system itself. Perfect. Alright, so let us set the starbase as a target, see where we're at. And it's about here where I basically decide, you know what, I might as well do this. See if it works. I have plenty of fuel, still got just over half a tank overall of fuel in those tanks there. And with the nuclear engines, super efficient, so yeah, we should be good. Just playing around with the maneuver node here. Yeah. So one thing I did notice, this thing right here was freaking hard, man. Rendezvousing with something around a planetary body, much easier because the speed relative to that body is much lower, obviously. So, yeah, granted, around a planet I'd be going hundreds of meters a second, but around the sun, I'm going thousands of meters a second. So yeah, you can't quite treat it as you would a normal encounter, a normal rendezvous, where basically you get up to your intercept and then burn towards the object and you'll get to it. Not quite. You have to plan things out a little bit ahead of time. As you'll see here, I actually had a few attempts. I will only show you two of them, the success and the major failure. The first attempt, oh man, I did this at like 6 a.m. It was kind of late, so I wasn't really paying attention to what was going on. I wasn't 100% there, but it did give me a good idea of what I actually needed to do. My first attempt, I basically just did what you would do otherwise in a rendezvous. I got up to the intersect, and then I tried to push towards the target, and I did get fairly close, but wasn't quite a success. And really the issue with that is that you can't attempt to do it on the first go around. So if you're catching up to the object, or if it's catching up to you or whatever, you have to try to get your orbits to be as equal as possible, because otherwise it's just going to zoom on by you, or you're going to fly past it and you're going to be going too fast, or it's going to be going too fast, whatever, vice versa and all that. And you're just going to be playing catch-up, and it's not going to work. You don't have the fuel for it. My first attempt, I almost burned through all of my gas, and still did not make it. You can see here I'm within 2,000 kilometers, and I figure, I'm pretty close. I might as well just wait until the intersect and burn towards it. Yeah, not a good idea, as you'll see. So yeah, you basically do have to get your orbits aligned. They don't have to be perfect, but they have to be pretty dang close. Because otherwise, it's just going to be a big pain in the butt. And also make sure you use the target indicator there for your relative speed, just so you know how fast you're going. I mean, my first go around here, I think at one point I was going like 600 meters a second relative to it, because I was trying to catch up to it, and then yeah, let's just say it didn't work. And you'll see in the second attempt it's going to be going a lot better, because basically I figured that there's no point in trying to make really long burns to get to it, so make like 2 or 3 really long burns. It's best to make shorter burns as you're approaching it, and that way you just slowly shift your orbit over to meet the object you're trying to meet. So yeah, anyhow, I believe this is still the first attempt here. Still burning away like crazy. By this point, I realized also another thing, which I'm going to point out to you right now. Right now I'm currently burning pretty much where I should have been burning all along. Don't try to burn directly towards the object, because again the relative speeds are all messed up, so you have to basically try to drag the vector, your prograde vector, towards the pink reticule, the pink target thingy, and to do that, you just burn on the other side of the pink reticule, and basically that pulls the prograde vector towards the pink reticule, or towards where you're burning. So yeah, it'll pull it into the pink marker. Yeah, it's just a basic way of moving. You don't really notice that too much when you're doing a normal intersect because the relative speeds are so low. But when you're trying to catch up to something like here, yeah, you definitely notice it. And it's no good. Like right here, I'm really not that far away from it. It doesn't seem like it, but I'm still a good 100 kilometers away. And I'm going... I can't even see in my preview window here. It's all blurry. It's not rendering properly for me. But yeah, I know I'm going super fast at this point. I think I'm at around 600 meters a second by this point. And yeah, I'm getting closer, but it's definitely not helping. So yeah, keep that in mind, boys and girls. If you try to do a little rendezvous with something that's not in a planetary system. Again, with the planetary system. It's not a planetary system. The planetary system is the entire solar system. Yes. Basically, when you're leaving the sphere of influence of a planetary body, there we go, that'll work. Your encounters outside of, so basically in deep space, are going to be much harder to do. It's really just a matter of practice. I did have to give this a few attempts, a couple of quick loads, but eventually I figured out how to do it, and I think I should be able to replicate it pretty well. Now, keep in mind, this encounter did happen just basically on the spot. I did not set up the starbase beforehand. Generally, when or my initial idea for this project was to have the starbase get as close as possible to Kerbal, and then launch something into space to meet it, basically when it's near Kerbal. Anyway, so that was the end of the first attempt. Didn't quite work out. I was within, I think, 10 kilometers there, but I was then moving away from it, and the reason for that was because my orbit was all messed up, because I wasn't really paying attention to what was going on, and because it was super late at night, so I just decided to scrap that attempt and start it up again when I'm nice and well rested, and that was a much better idea. So yeah, here we go. We're basically starting off pretty much exactly where we left off. I did have to, I did quick save, I think when I was about 1,000 kilometers away. So that's basically where we're starting up here. And yeah, we're getting closer to that intersect there, but I'm actually not too worried about meeting that intersect because my orbit is still slightly lower than the Starbase's orbit at this point. So I do still have to make a few burns, a few adjustment burns to get myself pretty damn close to it. But anyway, as you see here, I'm making short burns every once in a while. This is sped up to 2 times, keep that in mind, but I am making very small burns, checking my orbit every once in a while, not burning directly towards the pink reticule. I'm making sure that I burn slightly to the side of it. And I do mess up a little bit here. I actually end up going, or have it go past me a little bit. But that's okay because I still have to even out the orbits anyway. So, really not a problem. As you see there, the intersects are moving away, and now they're getting closer again because our orbits are getting much more aligned, I guess. And the benefit of doing it this way as well is you're not dealing with a relative velocity of 600 meters a second, for example. If your orbits are fairly close together, your relative velocity will be much lower, so it'll be much easier to actually encounter that object. And that's basically what I end up doing here. I eventually end up getting the relative velocity super low, I think like 20 meters a second or something, which was beautiful. Oh yes, this part right here. I had so much trouble. I was trying to just select it as a target, but nope, it's like impossible sometimes when objects are super close together like that. So I ended up switching to the Starbase by accident, but that's okay. We haven't seen those guys in a while. And just back to the rover we go. As you can see, the orbit is still not quite even, so I'm still going to have to do a few burns. I'm not 100% concerned with making that intersect just yet. Was at 2,000 kilometers there anyways, so really not a biggie. And yeah, here we go again, just pushing out that orbit a little bit more. And I just realized this episode has been basically just me trying to do this encounter. And I am sorry for that. I know it might be a little boring, but this is something that I feel is a very important thing to do in Kerbal. Trying to figure out exactly how these orbits work out in a huge orbit like this. It just gives you a better idea exactly of where to burn when you need to make an encounter, and you know, just the whole relative speed thing is huge. On my first attempt, I wasn't really paying attention to the relative speed. I was just blindly, you know, tunneling towards that pink reticule. No, this whole procedure teaches you that you have to be a little bit more careful, be a bit more cautious, and just don't be greedy. Basically, yeah, don't be greedy. Make burns every once in a while, and I'm sure this will translate over to regular rendezvous as well, because essentially it is the same thing, it's just at a much higher velocity. So much more, many more fine tunings you have to do. Anyhow, we're actually getting super close here to the encounter. Our orbits are pretty much identical. The separation there is still pretty huge. It's like 11,000 kilometers. Yeah, not the greatest. But again, we do still have to do a little bit of burning. And yeah, here we go. Now we only have one intersect, which means that our orbits are basically aligned. When you have two intersects, because your orbit overlaps the other orbit in two places at once, or not at once, but in two places, and the vehicles will meet each other in those places. When you have only one intersect, you know that you're only gonna hit the other orbit once. So basically this is what you want to have if you're doing an intersect out in the solar system, if you're not in the sphere of influence of a planet, because this way you don't have to deal with two separate intersect points and the time it takes to get between those points and all that. Anyway, as you can see here, just burning towards, pretty much by this point, I will start burning towards the pink marker, but as you can see, I am drifting a little bit off to the side, so I'm slowing myself down at the same time. Really, it's just a matter of just play with it. And sorry for the interruption there, I had to do something real quick. But anyway, we're back. And pretty much where we left off, we are about 1,000 kilometers away. And just a little bit more burning. Little bit more. Getting super close here. Getting super excited at this point too. This is the best this has gone by this point. I'm going, what, 50 meters a second relative to it. Yeah, no, it's going pretty well, I must say. So, 300 meters away, I'm actually gonna stop burning real soon here because I do want to wait a little bit. Don't want to mess it up too much. As you can see there, I did kind of lose track of the prograde vector, and I was burning off to the side a little bit, so that would have messed me up. So yeah, just keep an eye on the prograde, keep an eye on the pink target vector, and just try to get those two aligned by burning away from them and pulling the prograde towards the pink reticule. And if none of that makes sense, just let me know in the comments. I'll try to explain it a little better. But anyway, I don't know if you saw there, but we actually got to within 0.8 kilometers, so 800 meters, which is pretty dang sexy, I must say. Pretty dang sexy indeed. Oh, 0.7 kilometers, what do you know? Alright, well, let's just zoom on forward here. And there it is. Well, 60 kilometers away. There it is. And we're gonna have the crazy lag pause here where, yep, at 2.2 kilometers where the other object loads in. Alright, here we go. I have not seen this thing from another spacecraft in a really long time. And I'm pretty excited. And we overshoot it. Yes, we do. Oh, whoops. Don't know what's going on with the sound there. Alright, whatever. Feels like it was lagging behind there by a couple seconds. Anyway, we don't overshoot it by too much, only overshoot it by about 500 meters or so, 600 meters, so that's really not that bad. And cool, here we go. Now we're gonna start burning towards it, and well, the rest of this is just same old, same old. There's really nothing new here. I mean, we are doing a rendezvous out in deep space pretty much, but other than that, the hard part is over. All that we have left is just to dock up. And well, we've done docking before. Docking should not be a problem, right? Yeah, at this point is basically when I realized that, oh shoot, I completely forgot to add the docking port to that that interplanetary stage there. Yeah, I think here when I turn the camera around, I see it. I'm like, oh, what? So that's my mistake. Whoops. Oh well, that's really not a big problem at all, because all we need to do is just use the sky crane as a little tug thingy. Yeah, the sound's off there. I'm gonna fix that. So if it seems like I'm going crazy right now and talking about laggy sound, well, don't worry about it because it's been fixed. All right, so we're just getting ourselves lined up here, and yeah, this was really weird too. I don't know if you noticed it. Yep, every time I try to time warp, the object, like my target, yeah, just kind of like what the heck? It just kind of teleports like 500 meters away. I'm not sure what that's all about. I think it might be because the time warp thing is kind of off. Because there's so many parts right now. It's well, if you look at the mission time right there, it's yellow, and I know when it's yellow. Well, I pointed at it with my finger. When the mission time is yellow, that means it's missing frames basically. So it's going slower than it actually is, if that makes any sense. It's really weird. It's just the way the physics engine works in Unity in KSP. So whatever, I guess we'll just have to deal with it. I ended up just quick loading and basically starting up again and not using the time warp feature at all until I get super close. Yeah, I don't really know what that was all about. It was kind of weird, but you know, whatever. And we're actually going to do a quick fuel transfer over here because, well, we can't use the bottom stage to grab fuel, which is what I wanted to use. So we're just going to transfer all the fuel from the sky crane to the bottom stage. It nearly fills it up. There's about 200 units of fuel left, empty in the tank. So yeah, I guess that's something that would have helped. But oh well, it's really not a big deal because that big tank in the center there can hold, I think, 1440 units, so more than enough. Anyway, we're getting in nice and close here. Gonna, yep, try to use that time warp again, and I see it's still doing that weird stuff where, okay, we're like, what? So yeah, there I was using physical time warp, and it, yeah, I honestly don't know. If you guys have any idea why that happens, let me know. I'm almost certain it has something to do with the physics and the Unity engine, but hey, you know, it's kind of a funky little bug in the program. So, here we go. We are super close right now, a couple hundred meters away. And I'm actually going to switch to real time soon because, well, I don't want to show you the docking in this episode because we're actually running out of time. I could have put it in here, but I'll actually toss it in the next episode because the next episode will be a lot more exciting than this one, that's for sure. We're gonna have the docking. The docking apparently. We're gonna have the docking. We're gonna have the refueling. Doesn't really matter. You can figure all that out. But then we're also gonna have the awesome part where we actually get to Duna. Since this is post commentary, I have recorded a little bit more. I have actually gotten to Duna and I have it all set up for the landing. And next episode will be like half live commentary when I'm actually doing the landing, because I figure, you know, a bit more interesting to do landings with live commentary, especially first time landings on Duna with an untested sky crane and rover and all that. So yeah, that'll be done in live commentary, but the docking and the whole intercept with Duna and all that will be done post commentary. But anyway, here we are. We're just getting super close there. You can see how laggy it is. It's, yeah. I really hope they fix this. When there's too many parts around, it just gets crazy lag. My frame rate drops to about 10 or 15 frames a second, if that. So, kind of annoying. Does make docking a big pain in the ass. But, you know, not much I can do about it. As always, gotta deal with it. Anyway, I think this will be, this will be at the end of the episode coming up right about here. Just as we're about 100 meters away from the Kerbal Space Program, Starbase Alpha. Yeah, still one of the lamest names I've ever come up with. I gotta come up with a pretty cool name for this rover as well, if it survives. Anyway, guys, thanks again for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I certainly enjoyed making it. And I'll see you in the next one.